Hey guys, what's going on? This is David Chen, and we are here on another edition of Paradox Podcast. And it has been a great and interesting weekend here in Las Vegas. Meeting a lot of different people, and just kind of randomly, I'm walking through the mall. I got a buddy named Tyler who's just walking around. I'm like, yo, what are you doing today? And he's kind of like, oh, I'm going to be doing this. And we bump into each other at the mall. It's like, 7 p.m.
Yep.
And I meet my new BFF, Cade Buffalow. Cade, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's going on, guys?
It was like instant magic when we met. He was like, these people are cool. And we're like, he's got swag and he's cool. And then we just went to the Gatorade party with Del Moss.
That's correct. Yeah, we went to Gatorade ID. And like you said, met up with the homie Taylor, knew him a while. And within 10 minutes, met you guys. That's what I'm saying. It was like within 10 minutes.
Each other, though, because Taylor told me that you guys met each other online or through gaming and shit, right? And then it wasn't like, so he kind of seems cool. So tell me, so before all that, tell them about yourself, what you do, and why you're such a badass.
Appreciate that, man. My name's Cade Buffalow. Right now, I'm currently with Bleacher Report, social media programmer. Before that, I was running Call of Duty League socials with a great team over with AOE Creative. Shout out all my guys and girls over there, by the way. And I've just been in the social media game, Bleacher Report and COD. And before that, I was with the Sacramento Kings, working in the G League for their G League team, the Stockton Kings. Before that, just been about sports, athlete marketing, and all that stuff my whole life. And graduated from Chico State in 2021.
Chico State?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go, Chico.
Yes, sir. And yeah, now we're here. I've just been grinding away in the sports industry and, climbing up the ladder and meeting people like David.
Yeah, I'm so glad you didn't say many years, man. I might have vomited because you're only 26, man. You're grinding like a king with a big ding-a-ling. Like, you're out and about. I mean, what's kind of cool was, usually when I meet people who are of a giant stature and a great company like Bleacher Report all around, sometimes they're dicks, right? Like, you were actually super dope, and I would have never expected anything less from Tyler. Now, Tyler's dope because Tyler is the partnerships at Razer, right? And so, there's a certain level of people that you have to be. It's called a don't be a jerk policy. And so when he was around, that was kind of cool. But how you guys met was kind of interesting too, because that kind of tells me a lot about gaming and the community. Tell us about how you guys met and how you guys, met up.
Yeah, me and Taylor, like, going back to it, how we met in the mall. So we just, through gaming, started gaming on Twitter. We started gaming on Twitch in 2019. Started uploading it to Twitter and pushing myself more in the gaming industry. Like, we all grew up on COD, playing Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops and all of that, man. So me and my homies were always on COD. Started getting more serious in gaming when COVID hit. Started streaming a lot more. Took me away from college. I was streaming 10 to 12 hours a day playing Warzone, and really found my community and really found a bunch of people, like you said, online through the gaming space, just naturally and authentically. So after that sports period of streaming, sorry about that, I then I continued college. I kind of stopped streaming a little bit, but I continued to put myself in the gaming atmosphere, watching the CDL. Really, I'm a big fan of Call of Duty specifically, and got into more esports like Apex and Valorant and all types of that stuff. So, naturally, just being on Twitter, DMing people, following people, following esports, really esports and gaming specifically, you meet people and you connect and you DM, a couple times, you interact, and, over the years, you end up in the same places. Like, I was coming out here for the Super Bowl, and Taylor lives out here, and you guys just happen to be out here for the same reason, man. And, over time, those connections built authentically and genuinely, and we just, enjoying COD, loving the same things, and, just being homies. And then you meet good people like this, what I mean? So that's how it happens.
It's amazing because when you're in this environment, doesn't matter what environment it is, man, you'll really pick up who the gatekeepers are, who people are authentic and they're not, right? Going from there, and right now it's kind of interesting because you are coming off what I would say historically has been the most craziest thing with Taylor Swift, and seeing Blake Lively and seeing freaking everybody there together. And the estimates at that time was like 400 million. And I put this online, and now I think it's like $1 billion, man. From your standpoint, like the way that you see media, the way you understand this, have you seen any shit like this before? And what do you think about it?
It was my reaction to how the NFL, what they decided to do. They dove into it, man. They
like ate that.
They ate it up. And that really made I think everyone realize, okay, just how big Taylor Swift was, and like how massive it all was. Because to be honest, like, they've had players, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, and it feels like they've given Taylor Swift more attention than they've given those players.
Bro, on the
this
real, right?
year. It just, like, the way they've treated her and dove into her and just, like, lifted her up has I haven't seen anything like it, honestly. It's been crazy.
I didn't, growing up and knowing I was like in my 20s, 30s at that point where I heard about Taylor. She was a younger person, and having her, I didn't realize the impact until
Yeah.
you saw like those guys like Rogers dancing and all these guys dancing, and then like, oh, I had to come because my kid made me come to Super Bowl. And the prices go up to it was like $12,000 was the average price of the Super Bowl, man. Like 12 grand.
They get started at 8K, jump to 10.
Dude, that's a 40% crazy increase overall.
Christian McCaffrey's whole family couldn't buy a suite. $2.5 million out here in Allegiant. It's expensive here in Las Vegas.
For a suite, though, man.
For a suite.
It's a nice suite. I've been around Allegiant. Guys are great. Shout out to guys out there. But, man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, I remember at the end of the game, I would say the majority of people, including us, we sat there. When there were odds that were running. Are they going to get engaged? Are they going to have the kiss? Are they going to hang out afterwards? And the amount of extended time that they coverage, I think was pretty significant. And to your point, man, there's plenty of people that dated plenty of celebrities, but nothing to this level. I think it's just crazy, man. I feel like, do you think it's a setup? Like people are saying it. Do you see the Biden robot freaking red eyes?
Come on, man.
Like he's controlling the Taylor Swift Super Bowl odds and billions of dollars. Like I can't even control freaking math to do that. Like, what do you think this is? Do you think it's a conspiracy? This real?
Do you guys really think the NFL is gonna let Taylor Swift lose her rookie Super Bowl, her debut Super Bowl?
Damn,
come on, man. They were gonna let her lose it. But I mean, it's not rigged. If anything, we got to credit the Super Bowl just real quickly to Patrick Mahomes and his greatness. He won that game single-handedly. But Taylor Swift, from day one, has been all about her and the Chiefs. And I really didn't believe that they were going to really do it on the Magical Run because they've struggled. They just won last year.
Yeah,
they struggled this year. It's hard to repeat in this season, in this era.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe they did it. It was really a storybook ending. It was like a Taylor Swift song through and through.
Well, they were both young when they first met each other, and now they're doing what they're trying to do, and it is crazy, dude. Like I know this morning waking up and seeing all these memes of like Biden, like he did it again and he moved it, and I'm like, man, it would be a pretty great storybook ending, whether it's true or not. But the economic impact has been so huge, and that just goes and proves the power of social media, but more importantly, the power of an environment where you take someone like a Taylor, who is an untapped market with someone like a Kelsey, right? And put them together and see how much more revenue is made. So it changes the way people look at things. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of crazy to me, that they've done all that stuff. When you kind of see that, did you like the game? What'd you think? What were your expectations on the game?
My expectations were, honestly, I really did think it was going to be a defensive game. Niners are just extremely talented. Niners clearly had the better team on both sides of the ball. The Chiefs just had the better player in Patrick Mahomes. But the Chiefs defense has been underrated like all year. Like seriously, they've been Mahomes. And it's like that little Kermit voice he's got.
Kermit voice, Mahomes.
Hey Travis. But I really thought the Niners were going to bring home, honestly. The whole week when I came out here, I thought the Niners were going to bring home. They just had the better team. There's no way they lose again to the Chiefs. Like, they can't lose 3 in a row.
No.
That's what I'm saying. The greatness of Patrick Mahomes, you put the ball in his hands. Shanahan kind of fumbled the game. But the defense, the Chiefs defense, they've just been underrated all years. They've got some serious dogs on there, like L'Jarius Sneed.
Oh, shout out to Sneed. Sneed having a baby with Cade's best friend. Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
Dude, that's actually a true story.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's actually happening as we're speaking.
Hey, man.
I just got rid of the baby. This is an update for Blue Report. Just so y'all know what's going on.
We got Chris Jones. We got so many dogs. Like Karlaftis. Hey, we got so many dogs. They got so many dogs on that team. But underrated. They deserve it. They've been balling out all year. That team is incredible, and they just proved everyone wrong and went through all the adversity with a target on their back with Taylor Swift the whole time. And it was just like a giant, like, fuck you, we did it.
I can't, dude, you can never, like with Taylor Swift, there can't be a target. It's Taylor Swift.
I hear you.
Like,
but the media,
like,
they turned it negative.
They really did. It was like.
I hear you.
It was like, I see, and this shit drives me nuts in sports, man. Motherfuckers like LeBron, they get to the top, and they just try to shit on him. I'm like, why?
Bring him right back down.
Just let it be. And then what? The guy has to die, rest in peace, Kobe, and then you love the guy? Come on, man. These are some great people that work hard. But I am going to laugh about something. Did you see the one where afterwards his brother tries to get in? Do you see that
Jackson
one?
Mahomes.
Jackson.
Great. Yep.
And then the wife, right? She's like, and security guy is like, no, I can't get him in. Dog, talk about awkward as hell.
Talking about the best angle you could possibly capture on camera.
Oh my gosh.
Like just like, and her face was so fucking funny. She was just like, I'm good. Like I don't give a fuck.
Like, how do you in a situation like that? Like, I'm glad Christmas is over because they got like maybe 8 months later to kind of talk about it. But man, that would have been a very interesting situation. And again, shout out to Patrick because given that his dad,
Oh my
the amount of
god.
garbage that happened because that happened right before it too. That was crazy.
Can we talk about just the amount of media outside of football that has surrounded the Super Bowl? Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, and like you said, they've been even able to dive into their own markets and expand Kelsey Bros podcast
Not
and
at
do their
all.
own show,
Right?
do his own documentary, and they're great people to begin with. Jason's an amazing person who like helped Travis get to the NFL, and it's just great that Taylor's able to like help bring them revenue as well,
Yeah.
share markets, you know, make the NFL more marketable to women as a whole.
Yes. And it's important they do that. And I think a lot of times they haven't done it because they're so out of touch with everything, you know?
They really are. They can be at times.
Now,
I think this is a healthy, you know.
It is. But, you know, on the flip side, too, I was reading this morning, speaking of Kelsey, like, did you see the tweet from AJ Brown about
I did.
that?
We posted about it last night.
Tell me what you
If
thought.
that was me, I would have been kicked out of the league.
AJ Brown, end quote, on X or Twitter.
On X.
On X, right? X gonna give it to you.
You know, it's funny. I know that was his real Twitter account because it was official, but he tried to walk it back and be like, "Oh, I got hacked." And then they trolled really hard on that. They tried to walk it back, and Darius Slay was like going back and forth with him, trying to troll, talking about, "Oh, I got hacked. Like I'll send you a signed jersey and log out of your account." It was him, though. It was him. You know what I mean? It was him. I know it was.
What do you think? Like, is that a true statement? I mean, because he went into Andy like he didn't have a read.
At the end of the day, yeah, there's some truth to that. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's truth to that. I mean, there's just like no way around it. Like, I believe so. Kicked out of the league. I don't think he would have been kicked out of the league, but I definitely think there's opportunity for like a suspension or a fight or it's for the media to blow that bigger out of proportion than they would have if it was Kelsey.
Right.
So I 100% definitely get him on that.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because, you know, you do understand that. I think as an athlete or as someone who's in the spotlight, you have to be very careful what you're doing at all times, especially with cameras on everywhere around the world. I mean, he could have said he tripped, you know, but man, he looked pissed. Like I was like, damn, man, Coach told me to sit my ass down. You go sit in the part of the bench.
And I feel like Kelsey feels like he's probably earned that with everything that he has going. But you can't. That's Andy Reid, man. Like that's your at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's your coach. It's
respecting, man.
It's like he's obviously emotional. It's the Super Bowl, and they fumbled on that play he wanted to be in. But like, just got to try to keep your head in that moment. He lost it. That was not okay. But I think he knows that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he absolutely does. I'm sure afterwards, you know, they're all cool. But shout out to Andy Reid for handling himself like a fucking coach.
Absolutely, like a world-class professional.
Oh, dog, like on the real, man. I think about it now. You know, when you think of someone who's a little bit younger and that disrespect, you're like, man, I worked so hard to get here to earn this time. I never did to any one of my peers, and now you're kind of rocking and rolling, and you're being different. And when Andy can come out and still get the W, and that poor guy, I mean, all the shit he's gone through every fucking Super Bowl, right? From his son and everything else.
Yeah, all that.
Still a gangster, still doing what he does. I think great coaches are men of great character,
absolutely,
great strength, and they have to teach other men of great character and great strength. You know, and I think that's really, really hard. You know, speaking of great men and strength, did you see what happened to The Rock and Cody Rhodes
when he got booed?
Nah, dog. The boo shit is one thing. Did you see on Thursday what had happened?
I don't know what you. I actually don't know what you're talking about.
So there's a clip. We're gonna pull that up in a second. Here's the clip. Goes like this. They have The Rock, and it is here at T-Mobile Center, and he's standing next to Roman Reigns. And the storyline goes like this: Cody Rhodes, the American Dream, leads AEW. He was called the Elite to start that up. Right now, he comes over to WWE, shocks out everybody. Right, but it means a lot because Dusty Rhodes, right? You know, the Rhodes family, well known. The Ayatollah family, Rock, and all those guys doing what they're trying to do. Storyline goes, Cody wins Royal Rumble. He wins it, and it's supposed to now go against Roman Reigns, who's at, 1,000 some odd days, right?
Okay.
Then Vince stuff happens.
Right?
Yep. Rock now gets put on the board, right? He just had a giant merger. He puts him on the board. And the storyline now changes where The Rock is now coming, and then some weak ass shit. You got Roman here. You got Cody here talking to each other. And he's like, "Well, it's not me today. I'm gonna give it to someone. Here comes the Rock, and the Rock and they're shaking hands." So that's a setup.
Yeah.
But now everyone's like, "Yo, like you kind of screwed Cody out, right? Like we get it. You're the Rock, and you want to be the head, and this is the Ayatollah family." So they set up this write up, right? It's at T-Mobile here during the Super Bowl, and they got the guy standing on stage, and the Reich has this big freaking drawing, like the circle life was this big ass tree, and it's like, "This is my great great grandfather. This is his great grandfather." They go down like every wrestler, Yokozuna, the Usos. I mean, everybody, bam, goes all of it,
Okay.
and they're standing next to each other, like they'll go against each other. Well, here comes Seth Rollins and Cody, and then Cody just goes, "Your father, your grandparents would be ashamed of you." Rock walks up and he'll be like now they're like manning off. And you see his hands start clenching, right? And showed him, he just goes, pop, and just slaps him right across the face. Now, this to me, because I grew up in the year of like 80s wrestling, like it was like you couldn't tell the difference.
Okay.
So I was you looking at it, so I'm like looking at their hands, and then you see the guys darting at each other. And then the second part, I think you guys put this up, it was like now you have the Rock, and you have Triple H going, "Yo, you were out of line." He goes, "No, you fucking handle that, or I'll fucking handle that." Like that type of shit in the background, and that was the build of the Rock. The guy for the first time as a heel, basically bitch slapped Cody Rhodes back to, Dusty Rhodes is a left nutsack basically, and the guy handled himself and going from there. But this is interesting to me because you got a guy who's $1 billion brand in his 50s putting USLF and XFL together, and now he's on the board, and then he got his name on it, and he's coming out at 50-some-odd-year-olds wrestling and slapping mofos.
It's definitely different from what we're
damn
used
man,
to.
that's what I want to do for a living. That's what I want to be doing.
Go out there, have some fun, talk some shit, go slap some butts.
Celebrity fight some CEOs.
Man. Oh, I know, right?
Over always tells me, "Hey man," I was like, I'll definitely fight him for charity. But I think that is cool because it almost shows like when you talk about social media, like how do certain people get to a level like The Rock, Taylor Swift? They're almost like these untouchables where like there's so much authenticity that even in a situation where a Kelsey, like if it wasn't her boyfriend, oh man, it would have been horrible, I think, right? But if these are situations where The Rock really did, bitch slap that guy, they're untouchables, and not in a way where it's like nasty, like a Jeffrey Epstein piece of shit, but more in a way like they're so loved by their authenticity and their brands that I think that's what the difference is, right? And like you've seen a lot of shit go viral. Like what goes viral? Like what do you think? Like you're like, man, that's some shit that I want. That I when you go and you have to fly around for Bleacher Report and do all this stuff. Like tell me, when you're like, man, that's what to you, man? It's like that is the viral thing.
I got a great example for you actually. Today we got a DM request from this kid. Super, super amazing video, super wholesome. This kid was just at the Super Bowl. They just not walking around, but like with his family, they were just out there. He's a huge football fan. And anyways, through a long story short, I'll have to show you the video, but he gets gifted free Super Bowl tickets.
What?
And it's just like super wholesome. It's super authentic. And it's just like this kid, he has like the best reaction and, like it's wholesome. So just like good viral moments like that go viral. When you brought up The Rock and the slap, really what I thought of was the Will Smith slap.
Wow. That's
so
right.
I'm like that. I'm not
that's
just like
right.
It's almost like two different, the same thing, but like two different worlds.
Right.
One's in there, and one's
right.
And I'm just like, I just like that's immediately what I thought of. Is like, was Will Smith untouchable? No, some people had some people have, keep your wife's name out my mouth. That's what he said. So some people didn't like it. Some people were like, oh, I would do the same thing. So in terms of like you said, the authenticity and the brand that he's built had some people to back him up and love him, but some people also hated him and didn't like him for it. So I definitely feel you in terms of an entertainment scale that The Rock did. But if it was an actual bitch slap, I don't know.
That's crazy, man. That's a big ass arms too, bro.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's a huge fucking hand.
I mean, that guy,
you
can smell what he's cooking, man. I mean, it was crazy. And it's insane because you see these viral moments, and everybody tries to hit these viral moments, and then like pop out of nowhere, right? And going from there. Right now, as you're looking outside the two names we're talking about, who do you think is really making names for themselves out in the sports world?
It's a good question. Actually, honestly, the girl I just got to work with at the Fanatics party, also shout out to Fanatics, thank you for the invite. Cade Feeney, I went and worked with Cade Feeney. She's a I don't know what you want to call it, but she's just a woman sports content creator. I
Oh, yeah?
wouldn't know if I would label it sports. She's just a woman content creator who like does a lot in sports. She's at Penn State right now. She has I think 13 million followers on Instagram, and she's killing it. She's
Wow.
just, she went out to the Fanatic. She was at the game, but she's doing some cool stuff. There's a ton of people in sports, honestly, that are really killing it. It comes to mind, snowboarder Zeb Powell. That's kind
Yeah.
of like my favorite, Zeb Powell. He's
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
X Games guy. I'm like big in action sports stuff like that. What about you? What do you think about sports marketing? Who's killing it right now for you? Who's killing it? You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
and I think in a couple different areas, I mean, that you're looking at, and I think where it's at, right? I feel like right now when I'm looking into what is going on with the NIL deals in
Mm.
college football in the draft, I think, we know a couple of guys,
Shador Sanders.
right? So Sanders, right? We know Jared versus and Trey and Javante Jean Baptiste and these are first, second rounder guys, right? And the thing about the guys I'm trying to tell you is they're good dudes. These guys
Absolutely.
game. They're in they're like us, they're 20s. They play, they educate, they're good to their mothers. They're
Yeah,
God-fearing good men, man. But I think the character of those men will probably be picked up in the probably first, couple round picks. But I like those three in particular. And then Amari Ferrari, who they game together. So it's three of them gaming together. Shout out to my boy Amari, and they're working together. That to me is what we're working with them, and I love those guys. Another name I've really, really kind of enjoyed looking at lately that to me has really moved the needle is I think where bare knuckles at it. I think, I saw Austin Trout the other day fight. Shout out to Austin Trout. He's a guy from New Mexico State. Wasn't given the love he deserved, was a champion, a little bit older now in his age. You see him going bare knuckle, man. And going against a striker who's in UFC or MMA fighter and they're quick. It's like watching a guy jabbing and kind of like it's almost like watching Rocky 3 when Apollo Creed is smooth and going and he's like going that's what it looked like. And dude, Australia just looks so good, so smooth. Pow pow pow, jabbed in. Pow pow pow. To me, at his older age, doing that in a completely bare knuckle sport, dog, that's a whole different thing. And that's the rejuvenation of a second career to me. I love seeing that. That's moving the needle. That to me has been crazy. Some of the esports guys, like, I love seeing what Swag did, with that drop he had over there, with our guys, shout out to FaZe and going from there. I'm excited to see what Game Square is going to be doing with FaZe. Shout out to my boy Justin, and the guys over there, But that excites me because when I think of guys moving the needle and the new experience like us, we're sport guys. We game. We do a little bit of everything. That to me is still where the future of all sports goes. Everybody fucking games. Everybody
everybody
wants to
games.
game. You
That's
know
a
what I'm
great. Yeah,
saying?
everybody games at this point. Like LeBron James' son is gaming.
Yeah,
LeBron games.
Bronny,
LeBron plays
all they
Madden.
do is game. All they play is 2K.
That's
They
all.
all
That's
they
all.
are.
Like we all go home and games. Sauce Gardner. That's who
Mhm,
I think of.
mhm.
Sauce Gardner, gamer,
Oh yeah,
big gamer.
I didn't know that.
He's over at big gamer.
Oh
He's
wow,
good too. Like no
really?
bullshit. He's good on the sticks. Yeah.
So here's why I find this interesting. How do you get more athletes to actually become gamers and content creators? What do you think that is? I have my theories.
I
What are
think
yours?
athletes are already gamers. Some.
Mm,
I
I
think
like
they
that.
just don't create content.
That's right. Isn't that weird?
They
Why do you think
just
that is?
Because at the end of the day, athletes have a very, very busy schedule.
Mhm.
They got a lot of shit going on, endorsements, partnerships, people they got to take care of, practices, films, meetings, more practices. At the end of the day, they just, they're like us. They want to go home and game for a couple hours. They don't want, and most don't want to do content creation. So I think it's just terms of having a conversation with them seeing other people like Sauce and Kalia Davis that on the Niners
Yeah.
create content and be in gaming organizations and do stuff like Sauce has his own GTA role play servers.
All right.
He's got his own Discord
Yeah.
stuff. Like the people are setting themselves up, and I think it's going to take more gamers. It's just going to take a couple more, just a few more for. But I think it's going to happen like real soon because, like you said, everyone's a gamer, and so many gamers are athletes, and athletes love to game, and there's a lot of crossover lately. There's a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
crossover,
Love
and I
it.
just there's just going to be more of that.
I think for it to really move the needle the way that you and I envision it, not the way that they've been doing it, the way like me and you like without telling each other like know the way it should be. Look at that smile. You know what I'm talking about. Let's cheers to that one,
I
man.
feel
'Cause I
it.
know you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I always tell this to a lot of the guys. I'm like, bro, you don't own any of your IP when you're playing for the Ravens. You don't own any of your IP when you're playing for the Rams. They're not your highlight films. They're their highlight films or the NFL's highlight
That's
films.
correct.
Right? Oh man, so I'm tired. I want to get home and create. I'm like, dude, who isn't tired when they want to get home? Gary Vee makes a ton of money, right? Who wants to come
Gary Vee was here this
Buffalo
weekend.
Day? Yeah, and he was
Back in New
here
York the
this
next
weekend.
day.
Yeah, and it
And he's
is what it is.
content.
All day long. And it's not easy and it's not fun. And we have to travel and we have to move forward and we have to do these type of things. But for me, where I find it really, really weird is it's your brand. You own it.
Yeah.
It's your money.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't push it now out when you are an athlete and people are watching you, when are they going to watch you when you're not an athlete? Dude, you don't need a helmet. Ain't no one what you look like. You know, being an athlete, being in positions like this, dude, they could last forever. They could be like this.
They could be over next year. Dre Greenlaw? What happened to him? Like, that was the most awful, horrible thing I've ever seen. And it was so unexpected. It's just like, that's just an example of how easy it is, how it could be over.
And then what happens, right? Then it messes with you. So for me, I feel like content creation for a lot of guys is they're more, I don't know how, without telling you verbally, I don't know how. Or they're more of, I don't know how to come in, understand, and make it. Or they listen to people who might be giving them advice, but they're not necessarily about that person and their mental health or their emotional health or their sense of community like this. They're more about, yo, let me make that dollar bottom. But then what happens is, dude, the contract doesn't get signed. They don't care. They don't care anymore. These kids are 24, 25, 26. Dog, like I'm in my 40s and I'm barely trying to understand life. 20 years ago, dog. Dude, if I made an NFL, what is next? How do you grow? And that was my biggest issue, like even with being part of phasing initially with the CEO at the time. I was like, man, like these kids have to learn what is going on. They have to understand finances. Adapt needs to know how to make money. Temper needs to know how to get this done. They have to be educated.
Yeah.
It's our job as shareholders or people that bought in the company to educate them because it's the future, right? And unfortunately, making somebody less educated creates less friction. And what happens for a lot of people is they listen to all these people, but none of the people they listen to are people they're going to change their lives for. And that's really weird to me because I've seen this happen in 20 years, like from where you are in your life in the 30s and 40s, went from there. They'll be like, yo, I listen to this guy and that guy and this guy. And it's more of the moment and fear than it ever is, which is resoundingly doing it right. And they lose themselves. But on the content creation side of things, man, that's where I feel like these guys have the most authenticity, where they can just be them. And I don't think a lot, but they don't encourage them. Like they're not like, "Yo, Chase, you should definitely, stream some more because you're a dope person." You know what I mean? And so for me, I like hearing and seeing guys that come from the gaming world going into the sports world because it's different. Like not all our game, like we're gamers, but we're a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
So like those things to me are pretty important to what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do like the streaming side of it. So, we're talking about like these content creators, you were saying how, they don't want it and they don't really trust it. Like, what do you mean by that?
One, they don't trust people.
Yeah.
Two, it's a mindset thing. At the end of the day, their focus is on football.
Right.
But their focus should also be about the long term, what's after football.
Right.
And it's just not there.
Never is.
And they don't honestly want it. Some don't want to do it. At the end of the day, some people want to make content and others do make content. You can want it or you can do it.
Yeah.
You can hire someone to go make it happen or you can do it yourself. So it's in terms of them just realizing that it's possible, it's attainable. I understand that like it's hard. No one knows how to do it first, but you just got to make it happen and you will learn through failure. Try to learn the people that you can trust and just you got to be able to go for it because man, like what's life after football and like you could capitalize and multiply your following within the gaming industry on top of football while you're doing it and just build so much more momentum. But it's just in terms of opportunity, they just got to realize that it's attainable. Have people that they can trust, have the want, and just shift the focus of like, oh, I'm just playing football right now. It's all I want to focus on to like, what's next? What I can be doing more. Why am I not?
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Like, why am I not doing more? I can always do more. And I think a lot of people underestimate themselves. One thing I remember hearing from one of the agent friends of one of our guys was like, man, he loves the game. He's great at gaming. The problem, it makes everything happy. The problem is a lot of the people think that he games too much and he doesn't pay attention to real life.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay, so the argument now becomes, and I've said, well, listen, dude, if that might be true, but if that same guy went online when he was streaming, 2-hour stream, spent an hour going through it and showing his YouTube videos of him hitting and popping or throwing or whatever he's trying to do to talk about the plays. If the guy went on Madden and showed why he was running the 3-2 and the 2-3 and the nickel and talking about it
videos
and breaking it down then they would understand that he plays for it not just to play, but to also understand the game, which is how we do it, right? Like for me to understand a current roster, doing the agency side of things, who's where, what they're making, I literally go on 2K, see their names, see what they're making, because that's literally as authentic as it is. And then you use gaming to be a GM. Like that's what everyone does. Like that's how you become an agent, man.
When me and my brother, like the most I knew about basketball is when I played 2K the
Yeah,
most. I
yeah.
know the rosters, I know the names, I know who's in, I know who's out, I know who's coming up, and I
Right,
know who just retired.
right.
It's always, yeah, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
totally feel
it's
you on that.
important,
It's
dude.
important to have the in and do it, like you said, I think was most important, authentically.
Absolutely.
Like you gotta love it. Like I love the game.
Dude, so like as you love the game and you're gaming and now you're running around and you're traveling, like tell me how you got this job first, and then tell me a typical day of events.
How I got this job really just goes back to like after I graduated high school. Honestly, didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do.
No one ever does.
Obviously. Then
Yeah.
you start figuring out. You do a little bit of work, you go to college if it's for you. You figure it out. I took a semester off, just was like, what the fuck do I want to do with my life? And I really thought about it like, what do I love to do? And where do I want to be every day that would like make me happy
Right.
and while also making me money?
Right.
It started off with like, okay, I'm a big action sports guy. I live in Northern California, so
Yep.
like I got Santa Cruz an hour and a
Yeah.
half away. I got
Yeah.
Tahoe 2 hours away.
Yeah.
I always go out and skate. So like
Yeah.
I always did that in dirt biking growing up. In high school, I started doing more. I played baseball my whole life as well. So I've always been into sports and like action sports like that. And really in high school, that's when I really shifted from like action sports fully into sports. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I've always just loved sports and loved marketing and realized that eventually. I'm like, oh wait, I love sports and I love marketing. And then I realized that there's jobs out there. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that there's jobs out there for Red Bull and for Monster Energy and for shit like that when I got out of high school. And I just like, I can't believe it. Okay. Well, now that I know that there's companies that I love that can do things that like, I'll go do field marketing for Red Bull. I'll go do this for the X Games or whatever.
Right.
Like, I would love to do that. How do I do it? I start contacting people on LinkedIn, you know, 10, 20, 30 messages a day. Hey, people just of people who I wanted to work in the same industry as or
What'd you
the
tell
same
them?
company as.
Tell me what you told them.
So, hey, this is Cade Buffalow. Just wanted to quickly introduce myself. This is who I am. I'm interested in this, and I really would just love to pick your brain, get 15 minutes time, anything I could do to, learn anything I can from you because I want to work in this industry very badly, and I just simply love some advice.
You mean just messaging people on
Just
social
straight
media
up
could
shooting,
actually help you get a close and a
just
sell?
shooting,
Get the fuck out of
shooting
here.
shots out there on LinkedIn,
Ah.
amazingly on Twitter and Instagram, but
And this
just
is why you're at Bleach Report 26, so you understand that part.
I just kept shooting. Because I knew that's what I wanted to do after I figured it out. And I just kept going. I went through MJC with my local junior college. I went and transferred. I graduated from Chico State. I streamed and worked for Rockstar Energy the whole time. So like I got in. I had the marketing internships while I was obtaining that degree. I was doing marketing. I was doing a little bit of social media. I just got closer and closer and closer. And then what really worked was when I graduated and I got that professional development program with the Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission.
Nice.
They're the ones who host the Super Bowl,
Right?
Super Bowl LA, NBA All-Star Game, MLB also. They do it all. They're big events, Dodgers, Rams, Lakers, all of it. And I really that's kind of where I got my start. I just started going down to LA and filming events, doing social media, working some NFL honors, working red carpet events, stuff like that, meeting different people. And eventually one thing led to another. Like I said, had my degree. I graduated from school. I was able to work a cool amount of events that led me to. I was on the field for the national championship game, like just last or 2 years ago
Wow.
I filmed the national championship game and I was on the field for the Super Bowl LA year before that or 2 years before that. So, I just kept putting myself down there, kept spending the money, kept taking time off to go make it happen for myself. And, I was a negative. I wasn't really making that much money. I was kind of breaking even if like losing money, but I thought it was more valuable in the long term because I'm losing money now, but I'm making connections.
Right.
I'm meeting people. I'm getting myself access and I'm getting myself opportunity in places where I want to be. And yes, it took me a long time and I grinded and I spent hella money while doing it, while not making a shit, not making shit.
Right.
But now I have got to where I want to be and I'm making money while doing the shit that I love. So it's all paid off and I knew it would. And I just kept following and doing what I loved authentically. Like I said, I wanted to work for Red Bull at first and I took some different paths. You think you want, and then you just, you go down life, you make mistakes and, life unfolds and you end up where you end up and it's beautiful because it's all meant to be. It all works out.
Wow, that's crazy. Man, what a great story. When we talk about perseverance and going from there, now you're running around. We talked this earlier. Like you
Now my
came
schedule,
here
right?
and you're
Now it's
crazy. So tell me, a typical schedule and how you're running around, how these events work, and how you balance it. 'Cause we're like, it's too much work. How do you do it?
So, recently the NFL wrapped up. So this season, like my weekends were gone. Sundays,
Right,
we're on it. We're on it. We're on it. That's but really outside of that, you cover the meat, you cover the week, you cover the media. We're aggregators. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers gets traded. We're on it. NBA All Star game next weekend. We got a girl there going there. So it's one thing after another. You go to events, you cover events. It's social media. You can't cover everything because social media never stops.
right,
But we put ourselves in the best time frame right when we wake up, when the news cycle starts, right when we go to bed, and we cover everything: social media, viral videos. We make stuff, we create content. We're always filming stuff, podcasts, all types of stuff. We have a podcast with The Edge with Micah Parsons,
right.
doing that. And that's been great. We just had Stephen A. Smith and CJ Stroud on for a couple of interviews this weekend. So we have people here flying here to Vegas to set up stuff. They fly to Micah's house to set up podcasts. I went to New York in April to cover the NFL draft and worked out of there for a weekend. And it's just, a lot of on the go and a lot of remote, a lot on the computer, and a lot of files getting thrown in on Dropbox. That's what it is.
That's it, man. That's what I say. But we'll all drop lost and go from there, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you know at 26, like what the angles are and what they want and what's going to go viral?
That's a good question. I think, you know, just loving sports and kind of watching sports as a fan, what, like, you see a quote and you're like, oh, I can't believe you fucking said that. Like, and then you text your friends about it. That's what's going to go viral.
Right,
That's content ID. Like, that's what we look for. What are those moments that people are going to like? The shareable moments, the oh shit moments.
right.
Jason Kelsey, like shaking Ice Spice's hand
Yeah,
is just the littlest of interaction,
right,
but it's like a moment that you got to ID and realize that's funny as fuck.
right.
And then it goes viral. People make memes out of it, meme after meme after meme after meme. And then like the SpongeBob stuff, like this weekend, people, you got to know that people love SpongeBob.
Yeah,
So
loves what's up.
just knowing who's popular, because pop culture is the language of today. Pop
Amen to
culture is
that.
ever evolving.
Yep.
So you got to be tuned into that, and that's how you know it's viral.
It's all
That's how
about the
you know it's
culture.
good.
Yeah, it is, dude. That's so interesting you're saying that, man. 'Cause I always thought when I'm teaching, like it's always about the culture. The culture makes a move, going from there. Right now, if you were to give a couple pieces of advice for someone to really make their videos go viral, what are some simple tricks that you've seen that, like, yeah, man, that's going to help you hit that?
Please just be yourself and
Be
be
yourself.
authentic. Please think differently. Please never worry about the video views as well, and just keep going and keep posting. But like I said, be different, be unique, dig into yourself, and like be authentic, and don't be afraid to be different, because at the end of the day, that's what is going to go viral, because people are going to watch shit that they've never seen before.
Right.
That's where, like, I've seen, there's a creator, I can't remember his name on Instagram. His name's Adrian or something like that. He's been
Hmm.
doing like video time lapses, but he changed the game with like creating content all past year in 2023, like filming content. He's been introducing, helping people how to make content. And there's just like different ways you can be aesthetic on your feed and break stuff up, but be yourself, try to stick out, and just like really dig into like who you are as a person, and like what makes you tick, and what you find interesting.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think
What you
like,
find interesting.
yeah, but like you can't be yourself. Eventually, it becomes fake and nobody believes it.
That's
You know
very
what I mean?
true. That's very true. That's a good point. There's like a certain level of authenticity and like unknown to certain creators. Like they're authentic, but they're also like unknown and mysterious, and
Right.
like there's like a personal side behind it. But like just how I view it, I feel like just you got to be authentic. Like you can't, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Right.
like at the end of the day, I can't say anything else. But I do, you do have a good point.
You
You could
have to
all,
be right.
yeah.
So let me ask you this, man. Before we wrap up, name is there a celebrity that you're like, man, that person was super dope?
You know, honestly, who was really cool? There was a lot of really, really cool people. Um, Drewski was pretty cool. Me and
Really?
Drewski had a pretty
I
good
love it.
conversation.
I love
I
it.
told him that he, his obviously his name is Drewski, and there's a couple of viral videos him going like just riding a jet ski. And I told him, man, I was like, I'm gonna hit up a company, I'm gonna make it happen. I pitched it to him. We're gonna make you 500 custom made Drewskis. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Drewskis,
Hmm.
whatever. But it was cool talking to Drewski. It was cool talking to CJ Stroud. It was cool talking to who else? I'm trying to think of like who else I had like a really genuine conversation with. Cam Newton was really cool.
Really, I love Cam. It's cool.
There was a lot of good people, man, honestly, a ton.
Amazing. Now, this is the last one. Is there anyone that you thought, man, that guy was a little disappointing?
No, honestly, I understand at the end of the day, people are
I
just trying to
love that.
get through and like go to their party and like, they're living their day. They're very busy. So like if they're like they don't want to do media, or they're like short or like, what I assume or like someone thinks is rude. It's just like, you know, it's no. But
Yeah,
everyone was very cool. Everyone was very genuine, everyone was cool.
I love that, man. All right, man. As we're wrapping up, man, what is one piece of advice that you want to give our audiences before you go?
Hmm. The time is going to pass anyways. So what are you going to do?
Do your shit.
Are you going to not do it? Are you going to continue to be scared? Whatever it may be. Are you going to not apply for that job? Are you not going to make that video? Are you not going to ask that girl out? Are you not going to whatever? You got to take risks in the moment, like those split-second decisions. Take risks, trust your gut, and the time's going to pass anyway, so go make shit happen.
I love that, man. Now, Cade, tell me on your social media so they can follow you.
Cade, Cade Buffalow, but Buffalow with a W at the end because that's all I take. You know what I
That's right.
mean?
All you do is win, man.
No, but Cade
Cade,
Buffalo on
thank
all
you, man.
socials, and Buff Cade is what I go by on my gaming name.
Amazing, man. Cade, cheers to you, man. All your successes. We'll see you soon. Thank
David,
you, guys.
just want to say thank you so much
Thanks
for
for
having me
coming,
on the
man.
podcast,
This was
man.
great.
It was great fucking meeting you
Had a
this
good time
weekend.
having you, man. Thank you, brother. Cheers.
Thank you,
Cheers
man.
to you guys.